Hi there, my name is Matt. I'm building a game. It's got cubes, conveyors, cubes, painting, colorful cubes,
and this giant cube that will consume all.
My game is heavily inspired by my favorite automation games. We'll have a dash of Factorio in there, some modded tech Minecraft, and my own secret sauce. If you've ever played the Skyblock type of mod pack and liked it, my game is designed for you. Introducing Cubetery. We've got the core in the middle of the map. It's big, it's square, and it's hungry. What does it do? It spits out cubes. Probably more cubes than it should. It's a generous cube. What do you want? But what do you do with those cubes? You grab them, drag them through your monster pile of spaghetti, and slather them with paint until they yell uncle. You then send the painted cubes back home to the core, and it gives you something nice. You feed the core a white cube with a ring of red on it. Here's a belt. You feed it a green cube by combining blue and yellow. The main platform grows just a bit. You give the core tons of full yellow cubes. That's a new type of conveyor you just unlocked. Your factory is spread too thin. Your belts look sad and empty. Feed the core with some half orange, half red cubes to 4x the production for a bit. That fixes the problem, as long as you keep feeding it those cubes forever. Let's build this thing. First things first, I open up Godot, my game engine of choice. Yeah, that's right, come at me, Unity. Then, I spawn in the first cube. I made some simple floors and set up a sexy isometric camera. I drew an arrow and coded it so you can place it on the floor. These are our conveyors. They're not pretty, but they don't have to be yet. I gave them the ability to push cubes. Then, I made them fast. That's the wrong type of fast. I meant performant. If the whole map's eventually going to be conveyors, the conveyors can't be clogging up my CPU with their math nonsense. Lucky for me, I've got the Factorio blog. It goes deep in detail with how they make their conveyors efficient, so I'll just grab some inspiration from their blog. How these will work is simple enough once you wrap your head around it. Cubes on conveyors move if the spot ahead of them is empty. When they do move, they pull every other cube behind them forwards. You can think of the cubes forming chains. To move them, I just pull on the first one. Conveyors, check. Let's build the core now. The core is going to be responsible for spitting out cubes and eating any cubes you feed back to it. I started by placing a large cube to represent the core. It wasn't cool enough, so I tilted it and made it spin. I then added some holes around the core. This is where the cubes go. I left some spots in the middle. That's where the cubes come out of. Good job, me. Once you start feeding the core more of what it craves, it will speed up cube production. Next video will be all about that and the progression system tied up with the core. Subscribe if you want to see more, and seriously, like the video. Your 2 seconds of effort might be the difference that make this a successful indie game. How does one paint a cube in Cubetery? You start the game with a small patch of red, and as you grow your platform, you discover larger patches of colors. Whenever a cube splashes down on the paint tile, the side facing down gets painted that color. If that side was already painted, the colors are combined. I added a layer of paint on top of some of the tiles. Any cubes landing on them should get painted that color. I then had to add a new type of conveyor, the nudger. It launches cubes into paint. That way you can either belt over paint to not get your cubes painted, or you can nudge them in to get them nice and wet. Just like Mama likes. Coding-wise, painting the actual cube is kinda tricky. I thought I could use a shader of some kind, but then I realized that I'm really bad at shaders, and getting good is much harder than just using a shitty hack. Instead, I broke the cube. I no longer have one cube, I have 6 squares that look like a cube. The code just looks at whichever square is lowest in the world coordinates, and paints that one. Easy peasy. Looking at most automation games, there are pieces that I'm still missing. Most games have these things in common. They all have belts, some type of splitter, some type of joiner, and a way to go either over or under existing belts. Let's build those. We already have belts. For joining, I kept it pretty simple. You just point belts at the same belt. For going over belts, I built something new, the launcher. This bad boy skips up to 4 lanes of cubes by yeeting cubes over the lanes. The hardest part of building the launcher was getting the preview line to look smooth, but I found this pretty nifty add-on on GitHub to do just that. The link is down below. Lastly, the splitter. I thought about a few different ways of building this, and ended up implementing something I like to call the bumper. A bumper placed by itself does the same thing as a nudger. It pops any cube on it forward 1 tile. If you put some of these side by side though, it'll launch cubes to any of their outputs. This is kinda like a splitter, and it's good enough to get some gameplay going. If you're still here at this point, and this seems like it'll be up your alley, join the Discord. I want to get a bunch of automation nerds in there to do some playtesting and get some feedback, so get to it. The next few weeks will be for me to focus on progression and gameplay. Now that the basic building blocks are in, I should be able to make some decent progress. See y'all next time!